talk about the topic, are nanoplastics affecting plants and crops? First, my name is Valeria Fernanda from Ulloa, and for the introduction, we have some important concepts. For example, nanoplastics are very small particles, usually smaller than 1 micrometer. They come from the breakdown of bigger plastics pieces or industrial production. In fact, in recent years, scientists have started to study them more because they can be found almost everywhere, in water, in soils, or in the air. When they enter into the soil, there is a possibility that they interact with plants and crops. Importance of the problem. This is important because plants are part of the food chain, and if they absorb nanoplastics, these particles can finally reach animals and humans. Then, types of nanoplastics. Nanoplastics do not all look all the same. For example, they can have different shapes, size, and chemical compositions. Some of them are fragments that come from the degradation of bottles, bags, or packaging exposed to the sun, wind, and water. Others are fibers, which often come from clothes made of synthetic materials during washing. There are also spherical nanoplastics, which are sometimes produced in laboratories or in the industry. For example, for medical research. Examples are the fragments of the plastic bags in the soil can break down into nanoplastics that make stay close of the plant roots. Fibers from clothes are often detect wastewater, and when that water is reused in agriculture, these fibers can reach crops. Then, spherical nanoplastics are less common in daily pollution, but they are used in experiments to see how plants absorb them. In fact, in one study, researchers observed that spherical nanoplastics could enter the root system and move to the leaves. For the advantages, the controlled use of nanoplastics could represent a very kind of potential advantages. It's possible to improve the growth of the plants or the quality and efficiency of the crops. Toleration and stress as well. For that is required low concentration of nanoplastics. As mentioned in one article, the mesophyllosilica-based materials allow control of germination time and root length. No translocation of co-locations to the setting was detected, related on potato plants.
So, in the other hand, has a disadvantage. It had been found that the nanoplastics had an amount of counterproductive effects. The nanoplastics are able to modify the composition of the ground, changing the capacity of absorb water and the root system of the plants, making the plant unable to grow correctly, and it disturbs the way that the plant absorbs mineral nutrients. Also, when the nanoplastics are increased, these accumulate the concentration of other contaminants like pesticides and toxic metals. This type of contaminants can reach at the food that we eat, and if this occurs, can eventually affect our health. And also, it can change the properties of some food that we get from the crops. These nanoplastics also affect other forms of life when it interacts with the contaminated soil, like animals that feed on plants or microorganisms that are unable to metabolize the components of these nanoplastics. As conclusion, are the nanomaterials an advantage or a disadvantage? Well, that we think is that according to the control that have of it, it could be both. That we mean with this is that it depends. Depends of the amount of nanomaterials, the time and the interactions with other microorganisms present in the ground, and also depend the way that the nanomaterials are inserted into the environment. So, nowadays, these biotechnology have a lot of potential that are working on. However, they are not implemented in the parent form because the enough efficient technology has not been developed. That's why, at the time, there are more disadvantages than advantages.